Hello YouTube. So it has been a while since I made my last video, much less a video on the progress of my robot, which you might think that I gave up on it, but that is not true. I have been working on it. I just haven't been able to make a video about it. So rather than preparing for it more or just so I could get something like a proper video out, I just decided that I should just get my camera out at 2 in the morning, which it is right now, and just dump out all this progress just so I'm not, just so I could update the channel and do that kind of stuff. Alright, so what you see right now is some stuff I've been working on. First of all, I've learned how to use Blender. So you could see this is Blender, and what Blender basically allows me to do is to make organic type shapes. So this is a mask which I'm going to be using for the face of the robot. If you saw in some of my posts, I was using a foam head for the face of the robot. For the last robot that I made a few years ago, that one didn't even have a face. But yeah, so this is the face that I modeled in Blender, just really kind of quickly. I think the proportions are kind of okay. Once again, I barely learned how to use the software like this week. So yeah, basically what I did is I modeled a head in Blender, and then I kind of cut the polygons off of that head, and that left me with a surface, which was this face. And then from that surface, I extruded all of these polygons. I extruded them down into a scaled down version of it here. So what that did is that created a object. And with that object, I was able to 3D print it. So you could see we have like a mask right here. And obviously there's nothing inside the mask. So for the final version of the robot, I'm going to want to have cameras for the eyes, as well as other stuff, maybe in the nose or mouth, to make it move and such. And this is just a test piece. It doesn't have any of the hardware to do that, but yeah, I will be able to put that in later. Basically, just by the normal process by which I make these 3D models is I do it in Fusion 360. So what I'm planning to do is to model the interior hardware in Fusion 360 and then import the STL file of that into Blender, and then I could combine that mesh with this one into an object that I could print, which will have this organic shape of a face and be able to mount to servos and such. This is very good as this is a problem I've been working on for a very long time and has been very frustrating. How do I make a face shape? In Fusion 360, that's not a trivial thing to do, and Blender is a hard software to learn how to use, but yeah, after just a little bit of working on it, I think it's pretty good. I didn't need to do a proper video about that, but yeah, I sculpted it in Blender, which was not as hard as I suspected it might have been. Also, as I mentioned, in order to make this, I first made a head shape, which is what this is. This version is slightly refined from this original version, as you can see. This is just to get the head shape and 3D print it. I basically just sculpted a head and a neck out of a sphere, and then I put a big rectangle on the bottom of it so it could print flat like that. And yeah, as I said, I basically got this mesh, and then I sliced it just by deleting faces that are back here. And then I had the surface, extruded it down, and I extruded it into a smaller version of itself farther back. So once again, that gave me an object, which is this. So it is approximately 5 millimeters thick. So that's good that I could control the thickness of that. All right, moving on. If we actually want to make a robot, there's going to be actuators, and to do that, there's going to have to be like hands and stuff. So here's something I made a while ago. This is actually a gripper, and what's notable about it is that it was printed as a single piece of plastic, pretty much. There are only two 3D prints here. One of them is all of the gripper, and the other thing that I have to print separately was this little spur gear right here. So yeah, you can see if I move the servo, it can grip things. And it does have a full range of movement. You can see that I grabbed that bolt kind of accidentally right there. As I said, I would power this up, but I just want to make a video really quick about it, so we're not going to do that. But you do see how this can work, and very briefly, this was printed as one piece by doing several tricks. First of all, I had these kind of built-in supports right here. So yeah, this whole thing printed without support, which is kind of hard to model, but I was able to get it to work pretty much. So yeah, these are just kind of here, and then these gears, they have a conical base to them, so that allows it to print without support. And then the little teeth of the gear, you could add kind of conical support to that too, but I just kind of let it print loose, and then it is kind of messed up on the teeth individually, but it is mostly okay, and it works fine for that. So I was satisfied with that, and all of these bearings are just kind of conical shapes, kind of going in and out. Once again, making stuff like this kind of deserves a proper video as well. But yeah, moving on. So this is kind of a gripper shape, but it's not very humanoid, and I want to make a humanoid robot. So to do that, humans usually have hands, so maybe it would be good to have one as well. So hands usually contain fingers most of the time. So we need a finger mechanism, and here's kind of a quick one that I made. Yeah, so this just kind of uses a string, and yeah, it kind of bends like that. So as the string pulls in, the hand will bend. If I could get a hold of it, you know, it will bend like that. And this is a very basic fingering mechanism that I just modeled out yesterday. And obviously that mechanism does work, but this mock-up of it had a lot of issues. First of all, it's way too big. I want to make like a Hatsune Miku robot, and that would not be you know, 7 feet tall or whatever. So yeah, this is a too big, and it's also not really that good. You can see it kind of gets stuck here, and like it's stuck. It gets stuck in this position because it bumps against when it goes all the way down like that. And yeah, this shape was not very good, so then I moved on to what was going to be the final shape, which is this one. Obviously I don't have this hooked up to the string, but you can see that it curls up nicely like a finger does, like that, at about the same angles approximately. And this shape, I was satisfied with this shape pretty much, but one thing that I didn't like was these bolts. As I mentioned, I was experimenting with printing moving parts in one place, as this does. So I tried to do that with this, and this uses no bolts, which saves me the time of assembly, and also I don't have to look for these bolts. And when I printed that, it works about the same. Save those 2 screws. So now I decided, well, if I could print that in one place, why don't I just print an entire hand in one place, which is what brings us to these. So first off, I thought that I needed to print the hand and the thumb separately, so that's what this was, and I just glued it in place afterwards. This kind of, yeah, this one is hooked up, so you can see that it, if I pull the string down, it bends like this, which is not really that good. I kind of wanted to bend more like this a little bit, but the way that it does work here is pretty much fine. So once again, I could yeah, it's hard to do this when I'm holding the camera, but yeah, so it does give me a fairly good motion. It also has the string could go here at the bottom hole to pull it back. Yeah. So there's this. And this I think was pretty good. These fingers are the same as these, but it's printed at 70% scale. Mostly just to save time, though. I think this would be like a decent size hand for the robot size that I'm going for. Alright, so then I tried, okay, why don't I just print the entire thing in one piece, which is what this was. This one didn't turn out so well. Mostly because these joints, sometimes they break. So the print in place joints that I had were pretty good for this full scale version. But for a 70% scale, these little nubs that you can see right here, they're smaller. And that basically means that sometimes they just break off. So yeah, that was a problem with this one. But otherwise, I think this is kind of what I'm going for a hand shape. One thing about the human hand is it has two positions of the thumb. You could do this kind of thing, where the fingers are in the opposable state, which is what this is. This is specifically opposing on the index finger. So think of like this. But the thumb, it can move, so we could oppose any of these fingers. And additionally, the second mode is just to have the thumb completely outstretched where it's opposing none of the fingers. And then you could do this, and then like that, to make a fist. But for this, that would require having a motor on it, which I might do later, but just to make a basic hand shape just for like grabbing stuff. This kind of claw opposing the index finger would make a fist like this, but it's fine. So that's what this is. So for a first version, I think that's okay. And then this is the version that I'm working with right now. So this is printed at 75% scale. It turned out nicer. It has all the fingers, though I do think some of these joints are not, might break. Like if you look at the thumb, you could see that the nub is supposed to stay with the grain of this part, not with this one, but it does look like it is moving, though it is still solid, so I'm not sure. I'll just test it, and if I have to improve this, I could print it at a bigger scale. I could make these bigger on the same scale, or I could go with the conical bearings that seem to work for this, which I might do, but that would require modeling a lot of this over again. But this does seem like a worthy candidate to try to make work. Like actually stringing all of it up and making like an arm piece, which would contain all the servo motors. So I'm thinking about going just one servo per finger, and that should be good for what I'm doing. The servos I'm going to use are these MG996R, which are quite powerful. And one servo would handle both the in and out motion, just by having like a pulley that would extend the fingers in and out. So yeah, this is, I think, going to be the hand for my robot. I'm going to probably print another one of these. I might change the scale again, I'm not sure, but this scale I think is pretty okay. Like this hand I think is decent, though I do want to improve a lot of stuff to try to make it more durable. Also additionally, I do want to make the thumb move, and then later I want to do the flexion, which would kind of require more strings and more motors. So yeah, that's for later. But like for right now, I think just for my robot progress update for May of 2023, I have a good head shape to start with that, and I have a decent starting point for a hand, and also I have a claw if I want to use that as well. So this has been my update for May of 2023 of the progress of my robot. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.